Hey, Becoming Me. I am so excited to introduce you to my warrior friend, Maria. Maria, welcome to Becoming Me.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here, Emily, and the how we met and how we end up here today. And I'm so grateful for you and all the work that you do, right? I know it's not easy to put yourself out there, right? To continue and be consistent and the fruits that are coming because of it, right? You're doing an amazing job. Thank you so much for helping other women and girls to listen to different stories and to your story and then help them grow and become better. I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you are so encouraging. Like, thank you for your kind words. That really encouraged me. And I love how we met. Like, we both have this love for, and I know we'll dive into it, but love for the word becoming. And a mutual friend on Instagram connected us. And I'm so glad that I connected with you and your family through Nate, who we've shared his becoming story here as well. And just following you, I've been personally so encouraged to become who God made me to be. So thank you for what you are doing. Don't stop. It is hard and challenging, like you said, to put yourself out there. And what you're doing is significant. It matters. So thank you.
Thank
And now people watching are like, okay, we got to know who Maria is. This is amazing. So, Maria, if somebody was a new friend to you, just take a moment, introduce yourself. Like, who is Maria?
Who's Maria? That's a great question. Sometimes I ask myself that question. Well, it took a long way for me to become who I am today. I am 37-year-old and I am originally from Brazil. And I have a lot, but who I am today, who is Maria? I am a mom of two amazing kids. I have Zoe, 7 years old, and Noah, 4 years old. I am a wife of an amazing husband that God brought into my life. I am a kingdom builder and I love God and I put him in front of everything that I do. And I have a passion to help other women to be set free of limiting beliefs, of negative thoughts, things that are holding them back to actually live the life that God intends for them to live. Because I was once there, right? And I have been set free for so many things, and I have experienced and lived what God is
Mm.
capable of, right? So that's what I'm passionate about now, is to help others to experience the same thing.
Ah, that's amazing. And now I am just so excited for us to take time to unpack your story and what has really brought you to where you are now, how you're becoming the Maria that God designed you to be. So I would love for you right now just to take some time and unpack your story.
That's That's a lot. And okay, so let's start it when I was 14 years old and I first received the vision that my future would be in America, right? I
Mm.
lived in Brazil and I have never traveled abroad. And I had some friends that have gone abroad, and I had a cousin that had gone abroad, but I never experienced. And then that feeling came to me, right? And I grew up Catholic, right? I grew up in a different relationship with God. God was different back then
Mm.
than who he is right now in my life. And but the feeling, it was so strong. And then there was this peace that came with it, right? So I was like, okay, maybe this will happen right now. What can I do, right? So I kept, and I didn't share much that with many people, but that was in my heart always. There was a fire. There was something that said, this is what's going to happen, right? So I grew up, I finished high school, I start college, I start working, and then I start saving money because I knew I would come to United States and I would have to finance myself, right? So I always have been very independent, was raised to be very independent and go after the things that I want. And then when I finished my college degree in Brazil, I was like, okay, this is it. That's my time, right? And I had saved the money. I have saved enough to be able to be 6 months without having to worry about money. And I had a cousin that lived here in the United States. So I was like, okay, coming to visit. And I came and I landed in Arizona in August. It was 115 degrees. It was super hot. And I'm from Brazil, right? And everything was so different. I came from a green country and I landed in this brown place. And I just loved everything. And then her husband was a pastor, a musician pastor, and I went to their church
Mm,
and I fell in love with the worship. And I didn't even understand English, but I fell in love with everything. and then and then God became different, right? I
mm,
learned something that I didn't know, a God that I didn't know.
mm,
And I started diving in the Bible and everything. And then that wanting to be here just grew.
mm,
But then I had to Brazil 6 months later, right? My visa was over. I had my graduation party there. I had to go back. And I went back. When I got back there, I was different. People would look at me and say, "You're not the same girl that left 6 months ago." And I could not fit there anymore.
mm,
And it was weird. And but I had God. Then it was different, right? So it's like, okay, I focused on him even the time that was there. And I worked my way back here. 6 months later, I was back here. And I was like, okay, this is it, right? This is God telling me, okay, this is gonna work. And then I went to a trip to Hawaii. And the last day I was in Hawaii, I went on a boat ride and I went snorkeling. When I came back, my backpack had flown away. I lost my passport, my visa, everything.
no.
So there was again, I was forced to go back to Brazil. I was devastated. I was like, okay,
Mm,
God, what did you do this? Right. And I started questioning. Who are like you promised me this? And then but because I had a different relationship with him, I knew that I was supposed to go back to Brazil for some reason,
mm,
right? It was working all things together for my good. And I went back and I got into work. I started, living a life there. There was something missing inside of me, like
mm,
that joy, that, my dream, my future. Like I knew it wasn't quite right there.
mm.
I found about an au pair program and I went and I checked, and this was a year, 2 years later, and then I check it out. And then when God works, when it's God's timing and in a God's plan, things happen like this, right? So I found about a program. I went check it out. I didn't tell anybody. I just went check it out. I was like, let's see what this is about. The same day I signed up and I was online, and then I had to go back and tell all my family, like, hey, I'm gonna leave again. And I knew they would not be happy. But and the agency said, oh, takes like 6 months to a year. Within 3 months, I was back in the United States. And I landed in San Diego in 2010, and I started my program, and I had the 2 amazing years as an au pair, and then I exchanged my visa to start my MBA here, but I wanted to go back to Brazil to get my visa regular, right? So I wasn't like stuck. I couldn't leave the country and come back. Then I went to Brazil and I went to my interview, and my visa was denied. So
Oh,
there's my dream crashing right in front of me again. And I was like, that was not the plan. I didn't have a plan B. Like my stuff was all here. I didn't even take everything with me. It's like, this
mm,
is just a vacation. I'm going to visit my family. I'm going to come right back. So that was devastating. And
mm,
then I had to be there for a month. And I remember leaving that interview broken and I
mm,
cried. Oh, I got emotion just thinking about it. And I cried for a whole day. And I was like, no. The next day I woke up and I was like, no, this is not it. I know there's a way. I know if it's God's plans, that is a way. I rescheduled an interview for a month later and I went back there believing. I was like, no, I know this is God's will. Or, he would have shut the doors before. I would have an MBA ready for me, waiting for me back there. And then my visa was accepted. And then I jumped on a plane and came back. I started my MBA and I was learning and growing. And then my host family, the family I lived with, they're like, no, you need a husband. I was like, I know, but like, I don't know how's that gonna happen. There's no, we're gonna give you an online dating app, and you get. And I was like, I don't believe in that. That's like ridiculous. Like, I'm from Brazil. Like, I meet people in person. It's all the way back in 2012, right? So
okay.
internet online dating was different than it is now,
Mm,
and I was like, no, this is for weird people. And they gave me the account. They helped me build the profile. It's like, you're gonna have to have it because I have no idea what to say here. And they helped me, and I stayed with that account for a year. And then after that, they canceled. And I was like, the survey was terrible. I was like, no, you guys didn't send me anybody good and nothing. And they're like, but okay, take 2 more weeks. And this was January of 2013. And November of 2012, I remember I was dating a guy and I was heartbroken. I was like, this is not working. This is not, and I was done. I was done with the wrong guys. And I remember one night, like in my room, like breaking down and crying and asking God for forgiveness for trying to control and make relationships that I knew that wouldn't work, and just giving it to him. Like, if you're not bringing me the right ones anymore, don't bring anybody. I'm okay by myself. And that was November. And then January, that survey came and it was all bad. And then my husband showed up and started talking to me in the app. And then
Okay.
we met. It was February of 2013. We met on a Friday, and then on a Saturday, and a Sunday, and a Wednesday, and Thursday, and then we never separated. So when it's God timing, it is God timing. Like, things just happen, and then when you know, right? So we start dating, and things moved very fast. The end of that year, 2013, we went to Brazil for him to meet my family,
Okay.
and then he proposed to me there in the most beautiful, and I love Hallmark Channel movies. I don't know about
Me
you, but I
too.
love like
Yes.
all those proposals and Christmas and snow. They didn't have snow, but it was a Christmas, and it was a Christmas Eve, and I was like, "Wow, God, how amazing and perfect are you with the details
Oh,
of
yeah.
parts? He knows everything, and as long as you give it to him, right,
Yes.
he will take care of everything." So then he proposed, and we came back, and in January of 2014, we signed the papers because of my visa, and then that was the deliverance of his dreams and his promise to me when I was
Yeah.
14 years old. That
Oh,
was like, here it is. Now you're good. I didn't have to worry anymore, have, forced to be go back to
yeah.
Brazil and all of that. And I could dream and build my family and, all that he had for the future for us. So this is a little bit of my story.
Wow. This is so encouraging, and I love how you highlighted too, like, God really is a God of the details, and when he does put a dream or a vision on our heart, we don't always know how long we are waiting or how not long, but he does have those details in mind, and your story is beautiful. Like, thank you for sharing that. Maria, are you a coffee drinker? Yes? Okay, how do you drink your coffee?
How do I drink my coffee? Well, I just made a coffee bar in my house.
Ooh,
I used to drink with creamer, but now
okay,
I'm transitioning with like no sugar, no
okay.
fake flavors, nothing. So now I'm drinking with oat milk, straight with.
Ooh,
So I steam the milk
okay,
and
okay.
I add the off to it, and I love it.
That sounds delicious. I love that too. So
How
if
do
you
you drink yours?
so I just have a cup of black coffee, just straight up right
I
now.
got black.
Yeah, yeah, but I do enjoy, like, a good latte, so the time that we're recording this episode, we're headed into the fall, and a local coffee shop just launched their pumpkin spice latte again, and so I was very excited for that, and, it's very hot outside, but I was excited for that pumpkin spice latte, but
Yes.
otherwise, it is just
I
straight
love
up
it.
coffee.
Yeah. And the pumpkin spice latte is like the beginning of fall. It's fall is my favorite season. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, okay, heat, go away, because I
I
want the
know.
spice, I want the hot drinks and all the goodness that comes with fall.
I agree. I'm with you. So, Maria, if you were to invite a friend over and you were making this steamed oat milk coffee and you were enjoying this coffee cup together, and they're sitting across from you, they're kind of holding their coffee mug, you're holding yours, you're looking at each other, and they were sharing their story with you. What would you say to encourage them on their own becoming journey?
I would highlight the good things. I would be like, what are you most grateful for? It's
Ooh,
the whole story,
yeah.
right? Right. Even like the trails, right? The
Mm,
trials, the hard times. This is what shapes you to become who you are today. So let's go back there. I know it was hard, I know you don't want to talk, but like,
mm.
let's find something good
Mm.
in that hard time or the
Yeah.
result of that hard time,
Yeah.
right? Because we're humans and we tend to focus on the negative. I was big on negative. Like gratitude today is one of my core values and attitude of gratitude because I've been there in the darkness so where everything is just bad.
Yeah.
So work my muscle. And today I'm so much easy. It's so
Mm.
much easier for me to find something good in everything, right? So the Bible says also, right, the life is not going to be easy, but God is with you throughout everything. He never leaves you.
Yeah.
And the trials, right? He also talks about the refining us as
Mm.
silver is refined, right? And this is a hard process. I was just researching on that this week because that's a passage that spoke to me while I was doing my Bible study, and I was like,
Mm.
"Wow, how does people refine silver?" And I was, the things that came to me is like it goes under a very
Mm.
hot temperature,
Mhm.
but it is somebody's monitoring.
Ooh.
So, no matter what, the heat that you're facing today, the struggles that you're
Mm.
facing today, God is right there. And
Mm.
that is just to separate the bad metal to the good metal, which is you, right? And if God chose you,
Mm.
you are a noble metal in his eyes,
Mm.
always.
Oh, that's so powerful and encouraging. Warrior words of wisdom right there. Thank you for sharing that, Maria. I know that you're a coach. You've written an incredible book. So tell us a little bit about your coaching, your book, how people can connect with you, where they can find you, all the good stuff.
Yes. So I have my book, The Joy of Becoming. It's not how you get there, it's how you grow there, right? It's about enjoying the journey and finding joy in every step of the way. You can find it on Amazon, right? You can share the link with them, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
In the notes, and you can just click on there and get on Amazon. I'm also on Instagram. My website is www.mariacollins.com. You can go there and find more information, connect with me, follow me on social media at
Uh-huh.
Coach Maria Collins. I would love to connect to you and share more. You can learn more about me, what I do, my family. I have a passion
Mhm.
to coach women and becoming productive and mindset, step into the next step of
Mm.
life and all the success that God has for you. I have God in everything that I do. So the Holy Spirit is present in my coaching sessions and my speaking. I'm also a speaker and I love to encourage and bring the word of God to life.
You're amazing. Thank you so much. And we will have all of those links in the show notes. You can easily click the link and connect with Maria. Please go follow her, buy her book. It has a good word in the title there. I love it. And I just am such a big cheerleader of who you are and who you're becoming and what you do. It so matters. Maria, as we wrap up your becoming story today, is there any final word of wisdom, word of encouragement that you would want to share before we close out today's story?
Yes, absolutely. I want you to know that God has made you unique for a purpose, right? He knows you. He knows how many hairs you have in your head. And you were perfect the way you are. So do not be afraid of show yourself, of show your voice, of bringing his light to this world in whatever environment that you are or in ever environment that you're walking in. Be yourself.
Mhm.
And that's it.
That's so good. Thank you so much for sharing your story, who you are, who you're becoming. You are a gift. I love you, and I'm just cheering you on big time, warrior friend. Thank you.
You. Thank you so much. I'm so pleased to be here with you and having this conversation. Thank you.